Hello guys, this is the third lesson of our Garmin tutorial, and today we will talk with you how to communicate with view and update values there so we could make our application more dynamic. First of all, let's go to our tutorial, to our application view component, and let's create variables for each of our labels which we are going to change. Let's go to our layout and let's see, for example, here we have three labels which we are going to modify from our code behind. So let's create variables for each of them. For type title element, which will stand for water type. In our example, it would be cold or hot water. Current timer element, which will display current timer status, like how much time left, and cycles left element, which says how many cycles left till the end. Okay, we have created our labels and let's now initialize those. To do that, we will use findDrawAbleById function, which allows us to take an element from the view by ID. For example, we set to our variable a value for findDrawAbleById, which says type title, which stands for our ID in the label. The same about current timer and about the cycles left. Now let's work on creating functions for updating each of those, and let's start from the easiest one, I guess. Let's go from cycles 1. We will provide a cycles in number, for example, 5 cycles, 4 cycles, 0 cycles, etc. First of all, we will need to cast our number to string. For example, we do not display here just 5, we display 5 cycles left. For that, we will need to format our value. Let's do the following. First, we will need to know either it's like a single cycle and either it's a multiple value to put the S at the end. So we format our value like this, and then we will just need to set our value to the view, and we can do it in the following way. We use our elements that we have created and initialized here, cycles left element, set text, and we set, formatted value. Let's rename it here. Okay, yep, formatted value, which will stand for how many cycles left, or 1 cycle left. And then please note that after we have updated our label, we need to say to our watch update our view, because we have updated values there. To do that, we call watchUI.request update. Now let's try either it works. In this case, we will just provide, call it initially. For example, now you can see the default value is 5, which is set from layout. You can see it here. And let's try how it works. Update cycles value, and let's provide here, for example, I don't know, 7 cycles. And let's try, let's save, and let's run without debugging, of course. And let's take a look, either it works. And yep, as you can see, our value has been successfully updated. So let's remove for now it, because we won't update it from here. And now let's create similar functions for updating type title, for example, cold, either hot, and for current timer element. Okay, and now let's create the same function for updating our timer value, which is set in the center of our watch. And let's create such function, set timer value, which accepts we will accept value in seconds. For example, this one will stand for 30 seconds, or whereas if we want to display 1 minute and 30 seconds, we will provide here 90, just as in seconds. Let's take minutes from those value, and that's plain second, the rest of the seconds to take. For example, if it would be 90 seconds provided, it would be 1 minute, which it will take in this way, and 30 seconds, which is like the rest of divided by 60. Let's format our seconds, like to put, if for example it would be 9 seconds, we will put a leading 0 at the beginning. So let's create our formatted value, and let's set our formatted value here and the same request update. And now, of course, let's try how it works. Let's use set timer value. It doesn't exist yet because we haven't compiled yet. And for example, let's try 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It would be 130 seconds. And let's try if it would work as we expect, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's run without debugging. And woo, it works as expected, which is perfect. Now let's go to our water type, which would be either cold, either hot. So let's minimize those so we don't distract us. Yep, let's remove empty line and let's work on that. And of course, let's remove timer value because we don't need this. For better readability to represent our water type, instead of passing like 0 or 1, which stands for water type, let's create an enum for our, let's create a folder enums, and let's create a water type enum. Let's create new file, water type.mc, of course, because we have monkey, and let's paste it here. Okay. I've copy-pasted from my existing application where we also have a switch timer. For example, when we switch from cold to hot, we have 10 seconds to switch. But for now, we will just go with cold and hot, which would be enough to start. Okay. And now let's add a function. Okay, so I've just typed a function. Let's paste here and let's discuss how it works. Okay, here we pass our water type, which is as water type of water type, which stands for either cold, either hot. It's our enum. Then we just create two labels for two variables. One is for label and one is for color, because we are not going to display white one for both. We will make our red, our hot with red and cold with blue color. So let's go to the switch statement based on water type, and if it's a hot water, we just set label to hot and color to dark red. And if it's cold, we use label cold and color blue. Then we use our element and we use function set text and set color to update our view, and we again call request update. And of course, let's test our new changes as we did it before. So we just use set water type value and pass here water type dot. It's cold now by default, so let's use hot one to see how it works. And let's save and run our application. Okay, we see some errors here. Let's take a look. What do we see? Oh, of course, we made a typo because it's label, not labeler. Okay, and let's run without debugging. Okay, that works perfect. As you can see, label has changed to hot, and it now eats red, which is what is great and what we wanted to do. Okay, let's go ahead and let's update our value dynamically to make it working. So let's remove it from here because we don't need the default value. Actually, in future we will need this because we will take those values not by default from the layout, but we will take those from settings. For example, if user has selected 6 cycles, by default we will display it here 6. And the same about type and current timer. But for now, we are all set with this. And let's go to our delegate where we will handle our function. For example, now when we hit select, we just see selected logged in, but let's start our timer when user hits select. Okay, let's see what we have now. Now we have added 2 static vars. In the future, we will take those from configuration, which stands for the settings. For example, we have five cycles and cycle duration is 30 seconds. Let's then create in progress a flag that will just stand for either we are already counting or no. For example, when user hits select, we initialize it to true, and otherwise if user hit select during the activity, we just do not have to handle that click anymore. That's why we have added this condition, and also we have changed our return type to boolean and returning true, because it's a good convention to return either we have handled that click or no. And we have created our start countdown function, which will work here. Now let's create variables which will stand for our current value, which is at current seconds, and let's put it here. Let's start only from updating the seconds and only one cycle. We have created a timer which will stand for a timer which will calculate all our values, and we initialize it here. We create new timer.timer. Also probably we need to add import here, so let's just do it. Okay, we have added a timer import here, and and also it has the following signature. We pass a message that will be called on each cycle of timer, on each count. Yes, and here we set our how often it should be called. In our case, it would be every second call this method. And so also initially we have added our current values, current duration and current cycle, and we initialized our current duration with the initial default configuration. And here our message that it will be called every second. Our current duration, so we call it until our current duration won't be equal to 0. So once it will be equal to 0, we stop our timer. And every cycle we reduce our current duration at for 1 second. And also here we need to call our view to update the value with current duration, but we don't have here a function to update this. For this purpose, we do the following. We go to our tutorial app application, we create a view. Also, we need to set it. Our view equals to our shower tutorial view, and which we pass here, and also instead of here we'll pass the same instance here, so we will just use it here. Then we just need to return it. To do this, we do the following. We create a function which returns our view from our application, and we add one more function to return our main view instance, but it will be a contrast shower view. It would be shower tutorial view. Just copy it. Yep. And so here we return our view, and then okay, everything is here. Now let's go back to our delegate and let's add it here. So we initialize it here. Our view will be equal to get view, which we have just created right here. This one. Yep. And now let's just call it. We have view, and let's call a function that we have created, which would be set timer value in seconds. And let's go here, and let's set current duration, and yep, let's save and see how many errors will we get. Let's run without debugging. Wow, it compiled it first time. Let's see what errors will we get when we hit start. And we hit it start, and wow, it works. Let's see either it will stop or not. 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Of course it stopped, and here it is. Okay, for now it's everything for our third lesson. On the next, because it's already a little bit long, on the next lesson we will complete with you this view. So we, after cycle timer change comes to the end, we reduce the cycles count and we change the water type. Actually, it's just a business logic.